All right, guys, this is part two in terms of how gyms in Ireland reacted to COVID-19. We're going to be talking to Alan Sherry, Lou Kelly, and Brendan Walsh, and we're going to be discussing how they changed their gyms to online for their members, and also what their thoughts are on the future of the fitness industry. So, really interesting video. Listen up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who do we have here, and what gym do you own?
Brendan Walsh here from Guerilla Fitness in Clonakilty.
Great, Brendan. Thanks very much for joining us.
Alan Sherry, and I own CSP Gym in Bray.
Alan, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My name is Lou Kelly. I co-own Elevate Fitness and Performance with my brother David.
Perfect. Luke, thank you so much for joining us today. So Brendan, just for the viewers and stuff like that, give us an idea of when you closed and how you kind of went about it, if you can, please.
Yeah, we closed, probably the exact date now I don't have off the top of my head, but we voluntarily closed 2 weeks before government shutdown came in. But we were, I suppose exposed to this in a more serious manner quite early on, as we had one member that is Italian and went to northern Italy to go skiing. She's originally from the area, and that's when the kind of outbreak just kind of happened in Italy. So when she came back from that, we were a little bit more conscious than maybe most gyms would have been at the time, and I'd say that was, mid-February, I would say. So we were obviously then having an Italian in the gym. She ultimately lost her mum, unfortunately, during this process. But having that member in the gym and what was going on in Italy really highlighted what was potentially going to come down the tracks and kind of arrive in Ireland, which inevitably it did. So we started taking some pretty stringent measures quite early on, I suppose, just to try to stay ahead of it, and I suppose show our members that we were treating this very, very seriously. So kind of from very early on, we got in kind of hand sanitizers, and before it kind of sold out and prices kind of skyrocketed, and we started kind of implementing kind of shorter classes, giving people time to wipe down equipment, all that sort of stuff. We started eliminating kind of partner workouts, any equipment that would have been shared. We kind of avoided all that. So we started becoming a little bit more diligent with our programming. And then each week, as it got more serious, we then kind of just tried to stay on top of it a little bit more. And then inevitably, we voluntarily closed. Again, that member was kind of very vocal in it. The lady from Italy, she was very vocal in it, and we were kind of realized the seriousness of it, that here is a person that would, could potentially lose a family member out of this. So therefore we wanted to be seen to take this extremely seriously. So we did take the decision to voluntarily close, but we kind of were seeing that this was the potential all along. So for maybe 3-4 weeks prior to voluntarily closing, I kind of anticipated that this is where it was going to lead to.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a couple of gym owners, one that I would have been quite friendly with, and I don't think anyone was really anticipating the length of this and how long it was going for. And I said, on a golf course in early March, while out with a friend, a gym owner, I said, I'm preparing to go online and to be online until the end of the summer. And I said, if a virus like this comes, it's not going to go overnight.
Yeah.
And if the pressure is coming on us to close, then inevitably we're not going to open up, in a couple of weeks' time when numbers are sky high. So I did kind of have the foresight to kind of see this was going to come. So we kind of planned for it, we prepared for it, and when we did kind of close, all our members kind of knew what was happening. For the first two weeks, we were operating in the gym, doing the Zoom classes and live from the gym. But then when the big lockdown came, where restrictions came in, the gym was outside our 2K, so we got everything that we needed and started operating all the classes from our home. and it's been a huge success. I can't overstate the loyalty that our members have kind of shown in us, and that the vast majority of people have stayed online with us, and the feedback has been immense. Now that we've been working our asses off behind it all, to try to bring kind of more value to people who've been doing online kind of webinars and socials on top of the classes. But a lot of people have found that the classes are just as challenging, just as beneficial, but an awful lot more convenient, because they're not losing travel time, all that sort of stuff. So I would say 99% of our members are loving Zoom, and if the gym opened in the morning, and if we gave them the option of a class or Zoom, I'd imagine the vast majority of them right at the moment would still kind of stick with the online classes. For the simple reason is that it's kind of convenient, and while there is still a little bit of a scare factor out there, people are happy to kind of work away at home because they're still seeing the progress from it. So we've been very, very lucky that we have had the support and the loyalty from the vast majority of our members in
Yeah, that's savage. And like, especially since you had someone that like was affected by it within the gym, it's great that you obviously acted quickly. And again, that you have so much support for your members, because, you know, as we were kind of discussing briefly before, we kind of made this call that, you know, some people, it mightn't suit them, the home workouts, but obviously you've got great support and understanding, especially if you've obviously got a good program, people will understand it's going to be just as good.
You have me on the exact date now.
Probably Paddy's Day, was it?
We closed the Friday before Paddy's Day, whatever that was. We made that decision. We seen this coming a good bit off, to be honest with you. Like, some of those numbers, like I was saying, were crazy. We knew that if we hit here, we would have been in big trouble. We would have had to close or do something drastic like that. So we kind of had that backup plan in place. The final week leading up to that, we made the decision to try and like limit the class sizes to, I think it was 8 at the time. Do all the social distance and stuff, and clean the place, and etc. etc. But as it went on and the numbers started like getting really bad and exponentially increasing, I just morally didn't think it was right to keep fucking the gym open, to be honest. We're the gym that has an over 50s class as well, so we're then going to that population and the risks there too. So I was like, nah, we'll call it, and we called it on the Friday before Paddy's Day, so that's what we did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And like, you know, on that, like, because it's interesting, like I haven't heard many gyms that have like had the seniors class and stuff like that. So that's obviously very important. Like, did you have any kind of pressure from members, or was it kind of just your own kind of like judgment, or was members saying, I think you should shut up shop, or were they saying, keep it open?
Man, if we had kept that gym open the whole time, this place would probably still be packed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
People are screaming to train, but now we made the decision as coaches, and they trust us a lot here. We have a good relationship with everybody here. There's a lot of long-term members. Long-term members make up a good portion of our membership base, so they have a lot of trust in us. You know what I mean? So when we made that decision, everybody, literally to a man, was on board with it and happy we did it. So now it's definitely the right thing to do for sure.
Friday the 13th.
Oh, the 13th.
I think, from what I remember, I think we were one of the first to go, because we kind of came into work on the Friday morning. And obviously I'd been keeping up to date with a lot of the stuff that was going on across Europe, and I just thought, I was like, this is inevitable, it's coming. And I didn't want to have an outbreak in the gym or cause a problem or get it myself in the gym and bring it home to my parents or cause any issues. So we took the early step to go on the Friday morning. I think we gave the 10 o'clock class on the Friday morning. And during that class, then we announced everyone. We said, look, guys, we're going to close. And then we put it out straight after at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, savage. You're definitely one of the quickest, because I think an awful lot of people either went Monday or Tuesday after, like around where St. Patrick's Day and stuff like was. So that's
I was actually surprised. I thought it got to like Tuesday and I saw people were still going. I was actually surprised with that. I thought people would go quicker because it was inevitable. It was coming, and there was no point in risking something for an extra 2 or 3 days training. It made no sense to me at all.
Definitely not. No, you definitely don't want to be the source of it. And like, you know, on that, like you said, like obviously it's interesting when you say like you don't want to give it, because obviously that's a personal thought process you had in terms of you don't want to give it to the members, or you don't want to give it to your parents back home. Like, did you have any other external pressures coming in from members itself saying, I think it should be closed, or?
No, I don't think so. Maybe if we went on a little bit longer till the Tuesday, but I think because we were so early, actually we had a few going, I think the other way, who were like, why are you closing? Like, you don't need to close. Like, we'll just, whereas we just took that. There's no point.
Yeah. No, it's
And I think
definitely.
that was vindicated pretty quickly. I mean, it was only 3 or 4 days later where it was just like, you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely the right call. And as you say, safety first for all your members and stuff. So, like, let's say on your members,
Yeah.
and then on that, you said you're doing online classes and webinars. Is there anything else that you're offering clients and members at home?
No, but I have reached out for, as a coaching team, I got 4 coaches here, and every one of us were reaching out to all our members and making a point of contact with them every single week, kind of just trying to meet them at their pain points. For some people, it mightn't be gym related at all. It's just checking in, how's the head, So we're just like most people, just trying to check in and just be trying to give people some sort of sense of normality. And when motivation gets low, trying to find where people's pain points are, trying to pick them up and that sort of stuff. But one thing that we've had that's I was speaking to you last week on, that I mentioned that's been a huge success, was because from early days we had such loyalty and there was no cancellations were coming through, and we had such amazing loyalty that we were then able to kind of turn and focus on the community, our local community. So we would have had many members in the gym that would have owned businesses, been self-employed in the I suppose the hotelier industry and things like that unfortunately had to close. So what we kind of did was we set up a little challenge. It was called the Give a Little, Help a Lot challenge, where we asked people to do a challenge every week. It was going to be a fun fitness related challenge that people could do at home with their family. So it would be really novel, really fun, something you could do in the group, and donate online to a GoFundMe page, and then they tag people. So we're trying to get it to go viral within the local community. And every week, 100% of the money donated would go to vouchers for the business. So if we did, week 1, we might have done 60 seconds of sit-ups. Owen McGregor wins the challenge. We would have maybe given out 3 or 4 vouchers, and you might get €100 voucher to a local hotel. So you were winning, the local businesses were winning, and we were just trying to find ways to, I suppose, support those that have supported us. And I think that because we kind of put such an emphasis on that, and that in turn has kind of helped strengthen our community bond and loyalty with our own members, which has benefited everyone really.
Yeah, that's savage. Like to hear exactly this kind of support. And you mentioned you done something as well this weekend. Was that part of that, or was that separate?
No, that was a separate challenge. A really good one. There was a separate one in Clonakilty where all the sports clubs, the GA, the triathlon club, all the different kind of sporting clubs came together under one banner, and there was a serious amount of money raised, over 15,000. The West Cork Tribe Club, who I'm involved with now, they raised over 3,500 alone in that club. I think the GA club had over 10,000. And it was over a weekend. Everyone was doing kind of fitness related activities, and the goal there was to raise as much money, and that money then would be used to purchase vouchers in every one of the businesses, and those vouchers were going to be given to the frontline staff in the local hospital. So the frontline staff won and the local businesses won, so it was a fantastic effort all around.
Geez, Clonakilty is some community, huh?
It really is. To be fair, West Cork is really kind of bound together at this time, and everyone's kind of helping each other, and it's, I suppose, so vastly different from where you were in Dublin, that everyone here is just trying to help each other and support the businesses that have closed, and it's really been fantastic to see and be a part of.
Yeah, it's savage.
Yeah, definitely. We pivoted early. We shied away from the Zoom classroom just because I was also looking at the numbers on Zoom previous to this, and then in the early days of this as well. And the numbers seemed, the drop-off rate on Zoom seemed astronomical. So what we did was we assigned all of our members a coach basically, and they checked in on the Train Heroic and MyFitnessPal apps. And then me and Stu, we did the program here, and Stu was basically videoing the entire program. So every day the clients would all get sent the video of the workout, and then checked in with their coaches daily on Train Heroic and MyFitnessPal. So they were getting a lot of one-on-one coach attention. So that was the pivot we made rather than go to live class Zoom route. And it was definitely the right choice as well. Our retention rate was really, really high. So I think it was a smart move as well, yeah.
Yeah, they got savage accountability. Like, and how did the members react to that? Like, training at home, they're used to your physical space, and you're obviously your good coaching and stuff like that? Like how do they react towards that kind of stuff?
Mate, look, everybody fucking misses the gym. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody, they love being in the gym and that social aspect to it. So for some of them, it was obviously a big change. I mean, trying to do everything online, at home and online was obviously a bit of a change. But I was actually surprised by the amount of buy-in we had with the at home program. I personally, if you would have said to me before all this, like, to do a few workouts in the sitting room at home or in the bedroom at home, I would have been like, fuck off, I'm not doing workouts at home. Yeah. But like, I was banging it out, like, I was really getting into it, do you know what I mean? And then everybody seeing the fact that everybody else was so into it and logging everything on Train Heroic, etc., really kept everybody accountable. And like I said, the buy-in was really good, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, and what's it like, it's interesting. We were talking before this about your online program that you did launch. Like, what is that exactly like, and what exactly offer members? Because it sounds very interesting.
So we did, like I was saying, we had an online program in the works for a while. It was one of them things now where we're like, we have to get to it, and we kind of just like put it in the back corner. But then when this happened, I was like, we'll obviously roll this out for our membership base now, but I didn't want to roll it out there and be like, these gyms that you see, like, oh boy, our online program now for the masses, and it's shot on a little shitty phone, and it's obviously it's transparent what it is. It's just a money grab, do you know what I mean? So I was like, let's hold off on actually putting it out there to public until we're ready for that, but we'll just roll it out for our members, because we had the big, we have a huge YouTube exercise where everybody built up on that, do you know what I mean? Everybody was already on the Train Heroic app from the in-gym training. So that was the point of seamless transition. So the boys were just getting the actual programming that I programmed. Stewie was video on that day, he sent to them, and then obviously they were accessing the YouTube for all the finer technical details of exercises, etc., and then logging in through the app. So it was a seamless transition. Like I said, it seemed to have gone pretty well. So all is good so far.
It's great to hear, man. It's great to hear. And like so like you've got the coaches.
So at the start, basically we froze all the memberships. And at the start we were just doing the Zoom class, giving people online programming, as in like just one structured program, stuff they could do at home.
Okay.
In the last couple of weeks now, we've kind of expanded on that, and we've started offering personal online programs as well. So people can come and so if they wanted something specific to them, say weightlifting, and they actually have the equipment, then they can come. And they can pay for that separately.
Savage.
But other than that, we have the Zoom. And we try and just keep their engagement with other stuff, like we're doing a bake-off every week. So people can bake, and then they put their entry in, and we do prize giving, and whoever wins, whatever. And then Friday nights we have quiz night and meeting for chats and a drink. Other than that, not too much more. Just trying to touch base with everyone and making sure that we're kind of doing what they want or what they need.
Yeah. Like, and how do you think, like, the members itself, like, this is totally different. Let's say they pay you guys a membership to get obviously the personal program the personal attention from yourself and Dave, and obviously being in the physical gym. Like, how do you think they're reacting to home workouts, bodyweight workouts? Are they still motivated, or some people saying it's not for me, or what's kind of the thought process?
There's definitely, no, I think the people who kind of bought in at the start and who don't mind putting a camera in front of them and doing the workout on the camera, they're still bought in. I don't see any issue there. There's definitely people who just will never, ever put a camera in front of their face and do a workout. It's just not for them.
Yeah.
I think some people are just more comfortable doing that. That's fair enough. But we do have a lot of other people who they'll do the workout at home, they'll follow along, and then they'll post it up later and show that they did it, that kind of way. But they just don't want to do it on a camera in front of other people.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And then, like, obviously, we talk about the members. That's so that's class. Okay, so then, and like you mentioned there as well, you got the staff that are contacting members, and I'm kind of interested because as people who are in gyms and stuff like that, you're obviously meant to be leading and motivating people to keep training, even though your business might be affected, or for instance, staff, their money might be down and stuff like that. Like, how, like, let's say separate to yourself and maybe Hillary, how is your staff doing in terms of, like, how are they feeling, how are they getting on, how do they react to the whole kind of situation?
Yeah, well, we've two staff members now. We've one full-time staff member, one part-time. The full-time staff member, I sat down with them before, and I guaranteed his wage, no matter thick or thin. I said, as a self-employed individual, we got into this, for rich or for poor. but I goes, you're not the, I suppose, the entrepreneur in this. You're not the risk taker. You're here to get a guaranteed income. So we guaranteed his wage just to kind of put his mind at ease. Or at ease. He's after recently buying a new house. So I goes, he was going to be under immense pressure there. So I wanted to guarantee that and put that to bed. And then obviously the government, I think that they've played an absolute blinder. They've gone above and beyond in so many aspects. And they brought out the wage subsidy scheme. So that was obviously a huge help to us as a business to be able to fund that. He doesn't have any financial worries in terms of motivation. He's training every day. He's taking part in a lot of the classes, and I suppose being a real up front leader and in our community. I suppose at this time, and then our part-time coach, he's been amazing as well. Just been so fit, so active, so healthy, and just so positive online with her presence at this time, and you can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, no, that's savage. It's great to see them still keeping positive because again, people probably don't think about it too much, but they can be taking a hit just as much as anyone probably, and they still have to be positive for everyone in terms of keeping training.
They seem to be playing a blinders. Like, I can't fault anybody, honest to God. And surprisingly, I'm not just saying that because I'm fucking talking to you.
Yeah.
I'd say a few lads, you know better on this, but all the lads seem to be playing a blinder now, I have to say. Before this, we had already, like I was saying to you earlier, we have like an over 50 program, and in our spot, we kind of have every coach has their own niche. You know what I mean? So, like we have one of our girls, Sorka, here, who coaches for us, has our yoga. Emma, who was out with you, obviously she was the pre-post stuff here. Stewie manages this place for me. And then we have Jack and Dean, who look after the 50s, and they have a teams class as well. So the guys are all well used to kind of having their own niche and building their own brand. So when it comes to a lot of the online interaction and the marketing and the things and all that crack, they're well glued in already. So it wasn't too bad of a transition for them either. Like they've been playing a blinder, luckily enough.
That's cool, man. That's great to hear. People forget about that.
We're mad to get back, but like I don't think, for myself anyway. Now it's kind of weird because David's girlfriend, she works in the healthcare industry, so they are basically kind of isolating from us as well. We might meet every so often, but it's like the other side of they might be in the back garden. They only come in through the back, and because they're terrified that if she gets it, then they'll give it to my parents or whatever. Okay. So it's a weird situation that we're kind of disconnected from them as well. But for myself, I don't feel a lot of pressure at the moment. Now, if the owner comes and changes his mind and says, "Hey, we want rent," then that's going to change the game for us. And I can see where a lot of people are worrying because of that. But for us, I don't think it's a major issue at the moment. I think the members are happy enough, and we've gotten some very good feedback from the members, from the stuff we've given them and from the posts we put up every day. So I don't feel too much pressure in that sense.
Yeah, you know, Sav, like you are giving them an awful lot. Like, and I suppose people, as we were kind of saying before we kind of started this call, people like in those kind of towns sometimes can be a little bit more loyal to the gym as well, which is great to see, obviously, because you're providing such a good service. It's obviously such a big part of their life. All right, so then finally, then we'll kind of finish up here. Then, you know, let's say the announcement came last week in terms of the, you know, the certain phases and stuff like that going down, and some gyms are looking like it's going to be August 5th. But like from your own perception after that announcement, I suppose, how do you feel about it? And then, you know, what do you see, or how do you see the fitness industry going now? Let's say the 10th of August, everything opens back up and people are back to work and stuff like that. Do you feel as if there's going to be any change or any shift in the fitness industry? Or kind of just a general opinion on it?
It's not just the fitness industry that's going to change. I think life is going to change forevermore anyway. I think, you know, every industry, people have probably realized that they can be just as profitable working from home. And I definitely think that industry and life as we know it will be definitely different moving forward. In terms of the announcement and my own perspective on it, I think this is quite unique in that everyone has their own perspective on it. Some people, you know, have got the fear of God that they don't want to maybe open up gyms, that they feel they can't keep people safe. And while there's people dying, they don't want to kind of do that. And as I kind of said to you at the beginning, I voluntarily closed in the beginning because I wanted to help flatten the curve so that the, you know, ICU wasn't getting, I suppose, pounded and wasn't going to be overwhelmed. But now we see that hospitals are reasonably, have this under control. They're actually quite empty. A lot of them are empty at the moment. Um, and I feel that the service that we can provide, I can keep a lot of people safe. I can keep my members safe. So I'm lobbying at the moment with the local Gardaí and the chief superintendent and different politicians that I'm looking to get the go ahead to be able to operate from the 18th going forward. The provisions is that on the 18th, and of course guidelines can move and vary as this evolves. We could go into another lockdown, but as things stand, on the 18th, the provision and guideline is that people can exercise in groups of up to 4 in an outside space. I have an outside space in our gym with a rig and all that sort of stuff, and I don't see why I can't do body weight workouts, some sort of kind of circuits, just getting people together in small groups in that outside space. It's no different than you meeting up with 3 friends and going for maybe a jog. Yeah. And what I want to do is basically start to reopen up the gym in stages and basically giving people hope, because while we've had amazing support from 99%, there's been a few people that haven't fully bought into the online program. Wasn't fully for them. Maybe they don't have the space, they don't have the motivation, or maybe the gym is more of a mental health thing for them. So for people like that, we want to basically be able to provide the service for them in person. For everyone else who maybe is happy with the online classes, that's still going to be there for them. So from the 18th moving forward, we kind of have built our own roadmap, our own 5-phase strategy to opening up all the way up to September and October. And it basically looks with opening up on the 18th with minimal classes, outdoors only, in groups of 3 plus a coach, while running a full class of online class timetable. Then moving to kind of phase 2, phase 3, we're able to get maybe more people outdoors and moving towards indoors. We can do maybe slightly bigger groups, but again, still having the full schedule online. And basically just trying to accommodate for both people that want to get to the gym and feel safe, and maybe those that don't, we're going to accommodate for both of them. And I see this kind of going into September, October almost, where we'll still have maybe a full schedule as we would have had previously in the gym, but still having maybe a daily Zoom class for maybe people that are in isolation, because that's going to be a big thing going forward. People will kind of contract the virus. As long as we don't have a vaccine for the next 18 months, we're going to have to deal with this. So online classes is going to be something that I see for the next 18 months at least, because as long as someone is in isolation, I still want to be able to provide the service for them, and that's what we're going to do going forward.
Savage, yeah. So it looks like you've got it all planned out. And if anyone's ever been in Guerilla Fitness or Clonakilty, it's definitely one of the best places you can work out outside for sure. So they're up for a treat. Listen, Brendan, thanks very much.
You can see I've been getting plenty of sun outside there anyway, yeah, for sure. There's no
for a red face.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's look at each their own, really. I mean, I'm not all right with I see a lot of gyms running it, but what I see the 18th of May as is the easing of social restrictions primarily. I think it's quite obvious that's what that is. And I think that's trying to force our fitness business into that. And having 6 to 10 people outside your business on the hour every hour, having 60 or 70 or 80 people churning through, you making money on that. That's not what that is, I don't think, anyway. And I'm not all right with that. So I think for us, I won't be going down the outdoor route in the next week or even 2 weeks. And like we were saying earlier as well with that, you still want to be providing a solid, good service to people. And if you're doing boot camp style stuff outside with a kettlebell and a fucking box, you're not providing the service that you were. You're not providing a premium service. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to get down that route either. So for us, I'd say we see that 29th of June date is the kind of small indoor date. So we'll take a look at that. Like, well see us. And I said to our guys already, I thought we'd be back in here in July at some stage. And I think I'll give that a week or 2 and see how that plays out. But hopefully we'll be back in here in small groups in July. I know commercial gyms are meant to be from August 10th, but I think it's pretty apparent that like the likes of the CrossFit stuff and the small group training stuff is not in the same boat as that. And the leeway that seems to be given to businesses from the government so far, I think we need to be smart with their decisions, take advantage of that, and know that. Like, I wouldn't be all right open the 10th of August if every other commercial gym in the country was.
Yeah.
Because we're not that model. Do you know what I mean? So that's how we see the phases playing out anyway. It's definitely each to their own, and you have to make money how you make money. But I think, like we were also saying, the court of public opinion is very real as well. And I think people should be treading that carefully and playing a smart game here.
Yeah, it's important for sure. Like, yeah, and like as we were kind of saying, no rush. Like, take your time, take those couple of weeks. On that one, then finally, Alan, like, you know, as we was kind of saying, the fitness industry, kind of where is it going to go? You know, we kind of mentioned there, commercial gyms might find it very hard depending on the government's announcement in terms of social distancing and stuff like that. Do you find that studios like yourself, you're launching Bike Row Ski coming up very soon as well, into your business? Like, do you feel as if like these kind of boutique kind of style studio gyms are going to be the way to go, and they're going to profit from all what's actually after happening?
I think commercial gyms are fucked. Now, I know Perpetua, you have your little commercial spot out there as well, but I mean, any model that's like just, any model that there's no real community, social aspect, or a higher price coaching point to it, or any of that crack, I think is fucked now. Like even that August 10th date there, when that happens and people go back, if you need to maintain social distancing, like that's just not going to, like the whole commercial model is bones in the door at rock bottom prices, and that might have worked previously, but certainly not going to work with social distancing. It's just impossible. And I see a lot of gyms kind of jump, like commercial gyms being like, oh well, we'll just let people come in at this work and we'll keep 2 meters apart and they'll only use certain equipment, and it's basically our model they're trying to copy. But you can't do that charging people 20 quid a month. It's not going to work. Yeah. So I can't see them surviving, to be honest, not for long anyway. I think any gym, any small group coaching gym that does survive this and does last in a seriously strong fucking position. But I also think that it's a necessary, I won't say necessary evil, but it's going to be important for a lot of businesses to have a really good look at their business model, and it's going to take a lot of businesses to revamp their model in order to survive. Because even small group coaching gyms, like we were talking about earlier, even in my spot here, like we have a 7,000 square foot warehouse here. But if I'm mapping out 2 meter distances from everybody, and I want to give everybody their own section, and like I said, we don't want to go to a boot camp style fucking here's a kettlebell and a box job. So we want people to have a good premium fitness experience and keep them 2 meters apart. We can only probably have 10 or 12 people max in here as well. So stuff like that leads to a better service ultimately, but a higher price point by necessity as well. You know what I mean? Like, I know you were chatting earlier, you were saying you were talking to a couple of our friendly in Spain or whatever, and they're operating at 50% capacity. And if we're almost forced to do that, well then obviously you're going to have a revamp of that business, or even the small group coaching model isn't going to last either, you know? So it's interesting times, mate. It's interesting times. Definitely
interesting to see where it goes, but CrossFit gyms or like those class style gyms definitely have an opportunity, and because they can keep social distancing, so it's definitely going to be interesting. Alan, thank you so much. Where can we find the online program and stuff like that? It's on your website, CSB.
CSBgym.ie, everything is on there. Check us out, take a look.
Perfect, Alan. Thank you very much.
Not a bother.
Yeah, we've started going through all that. I think actually in the week leading up to us closing, we'd kind of implemented a lot of the cleaning procedures anyway. They'll probably have to be heightened a little bit, like making sure you wash your hands at the door, that kind of stuff. But we kind of brought some of that stuff in. The next phase is just going to be making sure everybody can get in and out of the gym safely. We'll probably shorten the classes, have designated sections like everybody else will. Yeah. We just need to go through it, find out how much space we have, and designate it out properly. And then all it is just controlling the numbers.
Yeah, because you have a fine size unit there. Like how many people do you think you might fit like with the social distancing, like comfortably?
I'm going to say maybe with social distance, probably 12 max, 10. Yeah. I'm not fully sure on that yet. But that's also trying to get people in and out of the building. We kind of have one main door that you can come in. Now we can open a shutter and people could maybe go out that, which is probably going to be an option. But that's really the only issue I can see.
Yeah, it's weather dependent. Like everyone's talking about outdoor workouts at the moment, but we've only got a sun for a week, and it's supposed.
Yeah, exactly. That's not viable here in Ireland. Like you can't be relying on that.
Yeah, Are you going to do something on May 18th coming forward? Like the way they said 2 to 4 people can train outside. Are you thinking about something like that?
We haven't spoke about that yet. What I had thought is will that make it open for personal training for, well, not personal, but keeping the social distance? Will you be able to actually bring people into the gym
Yeah, no, so this one is, that one is, so the one on the May 18th is, from what my understanding is, it's 2 to 4 people can train outside only, so still not inside. So I know,
Sorry, I'm looking at, sorry, in my head I was thinking of the June 29th phase. Where you can have 2 to 4 inside, I think.
Hopefully, no.
So that's kind of going to be the initial one to see. I don't know if we actually will be allowed, but I'm pretty sure you're going to need a permit or something to actually be allowed to do that.
Yeah, maybe you might be able to offer a bit of cash there to the local sergeant. Might get you through a little bit quicker. But and let's say on that then, to finish up, Luke, like let's say the fitness industry itself, like, you know, you're big into your Olympic weightlifting, and obviously you've got a big strength conditioning facility there now in Tipperary, and you provide obviously classes, one-to-one programming, PT and stuff like that. How do you feel as if the industry, do you think anything's going to change in terms of, like, let's say global gyms versus, you know, class-led facilities like yourself, or do you think people are going to be, I suppose, more scared to come back into your facility, or what do you think?
It's an interesting thing, actually. It's something I don't think I've given a lot of thought to.
Yeah, because I had one of the guys on there the last day. It was an interesting one, and he'd asked his members. Now he's a city gym, and he said, "Would you be comfortable coming back to the gym in a couple of weeks if I was to open up?" And 50% of his members said yes, and 50% of his members said, "I'd actually still wouldn't feel comfortable, but I'll do the online classes." So that was an interesting one to hear from his members. You know, something that some people, even though we might be allowed, let's say we were allowed to open up tomorrow, people might be like, no, still not comfortable.
Yeah, well, there still is that risk, you know, and when you're in a group, it's going to heighten the risk. And especially in a gym, there's a lot of airborne material coming out of you. So I can understand people's probably have different situations where if you're living alone, you're not going to be infecting anyone when you go home. That's a big difference. Whereas if you're still living with your parents or you have elderly people around you, then people are going to be a lot more frightened of it. And that's fair enough. And I'm wondering then, would they feed into a kind of Globo gym style just to be able to go in and do a workout on their own with a mask on and go home, which is fair enough. I can completely understand that as well. But it definitely will be an interesting topic. We'll probably have to put something out to the members and see. Yeah,
because do you think you might you think you might be able to take more members into your facility now? Do you think people will want something that, you know, you can provide a very structured environment there in your facility, right? Whereas in a gym type place or a Globo gym will say, can't really, like, let's say at the moment, they'll never be able to enforce that properly. So do you think you might hopefully see some more business?
Yeah, Jesus, actually, it might actually. But I suppose only time will tell. And I think it might even be different based on the towns and the cities, as you said already from earlier. Sure. A lot of people that go to the kind of Globo style gyms, like we had the Extreme Fitness open up here in Clonmel. It's nearly 20,000 square feet unit in a small town. Yeah. And we saw no impact to us, absolutely nothing. Unreal. Because our members just don't want that. It's a completely different world to them. And I think one person said to me in the last 2.5 years of being open, I'm going to go down there, which is fair enough. Grandy wasn't happy, but that's okay. But we've seen nothing, and we kind of knew we wouldn't. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Yeah, that's savage, man. Well, listen, it's great to hear. Obviously, yourself and Dave are doing great down there in Tipperary, and it's always good to kind of hear a different aspect in terms of how gyms. So I'm just going to pause the recording, Luke. Thank you very much.